And we are live. Let's take a look at this. Oh yeah, there we go. Excellent. A couple minutes early on the stream today. Got a bunch of new equipment, making sure it all works. And it's looking good. So, with that being said, how are you doing on this beautiful Saturday? If some of you had seen my live cast, I was down at the pool prepping for our beautiful time together, loving on the fact we're going to talk about some really important things today that will help you feel more freedom, personally, financially, just reduce clutter, things that are hindering us from feeling that sensation of, I can go and enjoy life and don't have to worry about much. So many people I've coached, especially in the last few months, as there's this underpinning, at least in the United States, of an idea that we're going to have some form of recession or financial dip. I like to call it economic shift. And they're just a little worried about where they're at, like financially or savings-wise, those kinds of things, towards their overall freedom for the future, taking care of their needs, right? In today's day and age, these are the things we got to worry about. Back 10,000 years ago, we had to worry about whether our family would be eaten or not by a wild animal. So today we're going to dive deep, have some fun, enjoy our time together. Let me just make sure we're ready to roll on the equipment, and we'll get crushing it in 2 seconds. We got that going on? Yep. Awesome. And we're good there. All right. So here we go. 10 o'clock on the button. Here we are. Welcome to our November 2018 Health, Wealth, and Happiness Monthly Mastery. If you're new here, here's how this works. Here's the lay of the land. I want to say thank you for being here, rocking it out with us. Whether you're watching us live or watching the replay, there's so much to learn today. I cannot wait to go over this with you. We got up 5 a.m. just thinking it through, really wanting to make sure I deliver for you along the lines of what I'm trying to get masterful with, along the lines of what I'm teaching a lot of people that I coach one-on-one and in groups to get masterful with us too. More personal freedom, more financial freedom. How? Very simple concepts, but it's putting them in play for the long term. I got some great stuff for you there. So how does this work? Today we go over a big picture. We're going to reassess, like we do every month, along the lines of 7 critical areas in life that really help us feel that engaged, joyful, alive, fulfilled feelings like we teach in our high performance coaching work. Then we're going to dive into training. Today's is minimalism. If you have not seen the movie on Netflix, it's not a prerequisite that you watch it, but it will really help kind of guide thoughts, decisions, behaviors, things we're going to cover today along the lines. I'm not going to be referring to the movie that much, but I'll be referring to overall concepts. The movie will help kind of give you the emotional connection or fuel to make them real for you. You follow? Good stuff. So awesome for you to be here. It's going to be so exciting. Then, of course, every month, my dream is to give you tactics that you can put into play the moment we are done together. That's the huge part of this. We can hear great ideas. We can see things that are like, wow, that'd be cool if I had that. But it's not until we take those moves and put them into play in our life that we start to see change, right? So many people run from change or fearful of change. In our high performance work, we have a session dedicated to change. And the highest performers in the world, they not only are not afraid of change, but they purposefully introduce change in their life. Because here's what we know about humans. We love new. We love novelty. We love that sensation of fulfillment. But how often do we feel maybe stuck in a rut, right? And what we have to do, and today's going to command this of you if you're up for the challenge, is think about things. What do we have? We live in a world today where there's a huge amount of abundance. We have things that, 100 years ago, there was a lot higher level of global poverty, people living at the poverty level or below, like ultra low poverty. And today, I think it's the latest numbers, as the population has grown by millions, billions, I guess, if you really think about it, that poverty level has reduced. We're down to 5% world poverty versus in the 1800s, it was at 70%. You follow? So we're living in a huge amount of abundance. Now the problem with that is that we have so many choices. And boy, do they know what to say and create and go after for us so that we need what they're telling us we need. We need these Krispy Kreme donuts. They just opened one here in Southwest Florida. The word on the street is they sold 900,000 donuts in 2 weeks. And every time we drove by, it's on my way to my girl's school, 6 a.m. in the morning, 4 p.m. or 2 p.m. in the afternoon, depending on when we got by there. There was lineup for the first 2 weeks for miles with cops, like guiding traffic. Now, how many people on this planet need a Krispy Kreme donut, right? We shift into that want. And we also shift into the very important point I want to make today, is that we have to be extremely critical and careful as humans to understand there's dynamics of biology involved in the Krispy Kreme thing, but also in the marketing and messaging today. What do I mean by that? At a biological level, we need sugar, we need fats, and salt. And our body is programmed to hunt that out if we don't have enough, right? Like before we had civilized ways of getting food, when we hunted, our species hunted, those were the three critical things that help our brain work, help our body work, like the electrolyte component of salt, and help us live, right? The fat piece. Today, if you drive down the street, you'll see everything has been engineered, or they're trying to get engineered, to get you in the habit of needing what they have for you. Goes along the lines of what I teach is recurring revenue. So how many of you need a Krispy Kreme donut every day to survive? How many of you want a Krispy Kreme donut every day? Because it tastes so good. But is it hindering or helping your health for the long term, right? That's the hard truth so many people do not want to hear. But that's the reality of what's going on today. So this concept that I'm setting up right now will fold into this concept, minimalism, as we step into what it actually means. Towards the betterment of us, the betterment of those we're around, the betterment of the world we serve, if we're blessed to do that, and the betterment of things in general. Cool? I'm so excited for you. We got so much to cover today. Let's jump in. So we're going to do that. How to get the most out of our time together first. Please assure there's no distractions, because in this time together, there may be one concept that you needed to hear, dive deep on, that if you were just clicking over here, be like, oh, there went that concept. Didn't hear it because I was looking at this. Got a buzzer, got a beep, got something else. Shut off beeps, buzzers, anything. Put headsets on, look at this, listen to this, whatever, the way you're experiencing this, make sure you're in a non-distracted state for your betterment. That's the whole premise of this. Next, take notes. Star any questions you've got, put them in the comments below, put them in, email them to me, because those become part of our live Zoom monthly roundtable. And whether you can be in that or not, send them to me because I answer them and you can watch your answer on the replay. Really, really powerful. Excited? I am. I love this stuff. You're going to love what we're going to cover today. Next, be open and vulnerable. Here's the thing I know. Coaching 3,200, 3,400, somewhere in there. I got to do the math on that. Sessions of high performance over the last 6 years. Here's what I've learned. The more open and vulnerable you are about how you feel right now and the feelings that are maybe coming up for you and you express them with somebody who's of growth mindset, that'd be me, with somebody who doesn't bring judgment to our conversation. I stopped doing that a long time ago because I don't know your journey, right? My judgment on whatever it is for you does not help our progress in growing or coaching or challenging you to that next level. It hinders it. You may not have that person in your life, but you do now. So be open and vulnerable, at least with me, to make sure that our experiences of growth, and we're going this way towards an ambition, right? So a big part of that, of course, participate. I reward for participation, so comment. If you're watching the replay, comment. Make sure as I ask you or challenge you on things that you emote. Because here's what we know, the people who type it out or write it out and participate, those are the people that tend to get those things done. Those are the people that tend to take more action because there's a level of accountability there. Does that all make sense? Finally, now know this, in our beautiful mastery community, we're all here for you. We're all here to help each other. There's been so many great comments over the last few weeks of just this feeling of family, this feeling of camaraderie, this feeling of really taking care of each other. And I've been really blessed to even be the facilitator of that, but just letting it go and grow, right? That's magic in my world, and I hope it is in yours too. Our first step today is, fireworks please, keeping perspective. You know, a lot of people, They'll go to church every week. They'll have a practice, a spiritual practice even, of just checking in every week and saying, hey, how am I doing? What did I get wrong last week? What did I get right last week? What's going to change going into this week? Let me say that again for you. What did I get wrong last week? What did I get right last week? What's going to change going into this week? Even if you just made that a practice, and you do that every Saturday morning or Sunday morning, and spent 10 minutes, do you think over the course of 52 weeks in a year, you'd feel better about life? You'd be a little more directed on doing the right things? You'd have a sort of plan? You'd have a log of all the things. Wow, I keep doing this wrong. I got to figure out how to do it right. You know, this is the magic of what we're doing here. I hope you're feeling the shift already. Boy, is that a good exercise. So maybe later today you can hit that, or tomorrow morning, you know, you can hit that out of the park. So the way we're going to keep perspective first is through the life perspective. The life assessment, which looks like this. And if you want it, you can grab it at bit.ly/mylifeassessment. It'll be in the replay training as a PDF for you too. And so here's the very first item on the life assessment that ties into today's training that will help you level up each of these areas. I want to make sure you see this. The perspective we're going to keep today, that we're going to go over, is going to be uplifted through today's training and tactics. You follow? This is adult learning theory in action here. We're going to do big picture reason why, and then we're going to do some training to uplift and then some tactics to hit the ground running. Does that sound good for you? I hope it does. This is amazing stuff. Let's go. So I want you to assess yourself. 0, I do not agree with this at all, to 10, I am owning it. And here's the statement. I am where I thought I'd be at this point in my life. Overall, I'm living into the very best version of myself for me, those I love and care for, and the world. So take a moment, assess yourself as of today. How are you doing here? 6 would be, you know what? Yeah, I'm kind of where I thought I'd be, you know, financially, with relationships, with making babies, with just going after whatever it is. But there's so much more that I want to make sure I accomplish in life. And then the best version of yourself. Do you have that defined for you? The number one thing that comes up here is self-care for people. The highest performers, they treat self-care as the top number one thing. Like if they schedule time in their calendar, and that's what they do, and that's what I do, for working out, running, walking, just being with people close to me, they will not waver on those scheduled appointments. You ever notice that some people are like, if it's scheduled with somebody else, oh, I couldn't possibly miss that. But if they schedule their own workout time, well, it's just me. The highest performers, it's even more so living into the schedule for just them. And they know what that best version looks like in these areas. Follow? So what did you get there? I'd love for you to share if you're up for it. Comment below, whether you're live with us or in the replay, and let me know what that looks like for you as of right now. Next up is diving deeper on your best self. So overall, I feel healthy, happy, and energized. My energy levels are consistent throughout the day, and I even sustain into the evenings until I wind down for bed. So we're not looking for this. Krispy Kreme, oh, coming off the sugar rush. Coke, coming off the sugar rush. Had a big lunch, tanked. We're looking for this. And then gets time for bed, this. Now there is a way to eat and get your physiology dialed in so that happens. If you're like, that's not even possible, it is very possible. I live it. So if you need help with that, we're going to talk about a little bit of that in the Wheel of Perspective in a minute. But that's the idea here. So how are you doing here? 0, not good at all. 10, owning it. Would love for you to share your numbers. I'm going to share mine at the end. I'll just kind of sum them up for you. I did the reassessment of myself this morning as part of my weekly practice. Next up is my relationships. I work diligently to create, build, and maintain great relationships with those around me. I feel I'm a good role model for my loved ones, those close to me, and the world. And I consistently listen well, show compassion for myself and others, and communicate my thoughts and feelings. And boy, is that a heavy workload. Wow. So there's training I have online that sort of unpacks this. But your overall feeling, where are you at? 0, not good at all. 10, crushing it. I am on the hunt, and I am constantly thinking about how I can build maintain great relationships with those around me. I feel I'm a good role model for everybody. Everybody. And I consistently listen, show compassion, meaning I recognize people's struggle, have a desire to alleviate it, and I do something about it, and communicate my thoughts and feelings. Wow, that's a lot, right? So what is it for you? What's showing up for you? 0? Yeah. Wow. Relationships? What relationships? 10? Crushing it. Next up is stress, overwhelm, and clarity. These are the 3 top things that in 2,000 sessions of high performance, these were the words that people were like, this is what I want. I want to reduce stress and overwhelm, and I want to increase clarity. And believe me, they're related. Cool? So how are you doing here right now in your life? I have great stress management practices in my life. When I do get stressed, I know exactly what to do to reduce or remove it from my life. And I typically do not feel overwhelmed or distracted because I have clarity of who I am and what I should be doing every day. And this part is exactly what we teach and coach in high performance, is getting to that. And man, when I first saw or heard, it wasn't that exact wording because I came up with this wording, but when I felt that, I was like, I don't even know what I should be doing every day. Now I am ultra clear, and for the last 3.5 years have lived into it every single day. You follow? So I'd love to know how you feel about this. 0, don't have that dialed in at all. I'm stressed beyond recognition. I don't even know what to do to reduce stress. I typically feel overwhelmed and distracted because I have no clarity in life. 10, the opposite. What is it for you? Would love to know. Comment below if you're up for it. Replay or watching live with us, whatever that is. Next, my career mission. The work I do in the world is meaningful to me. I believe I'm consistent about living in alignment with what the best use of me, my passions, and my talents are. The work I do in the world is meaningful to me. I believe I'm consistent about living in alignment with what the best use of me, my passions, and my talents are. Now, this doesn't mean we're not always on the hunt to grow and get new talents or grow talents or, go after endeavors that can really help us propel what we're trying to do in the world. For a lot of people, especially thought leaders and entrepreneurs that I work with, they're really trying to get more practice in video because that's where everything's at right now. To talk to you and to talk to you through a lens and know that your face is right on the other side of that. Hopefully you're smiling at me right now, going, thanks, Charlie, for keeping me in perspective of all these important things. No matter where you're at, we're here together. We're loving on it. I'm here to support you, to care for you, take care of you, love on you, champion you on, and yes, even challenge you. That's the coach in me. Cool? Okay, so what'd you get? Next up, my hobbies and passions. I know and understand the importance of having hobbies to help me continually connect with my creative and self-expressive side. I'm consistent. Oh, that word's a heavy-duty one. We're going to cover that in our 10X business today. Business mastery, business internet mastery. We're going to talk about consistency and how I'm going after that. As some of you know, that's been a trick for me this year. I'm consistent about nurturing my hobbies and passions. What is that for you? And do you understand the importance of having that ability to just, especially in today's world of abundance, try new things? Whether that's, a lot of people are getting just canvases from an art store and they're just drawing. And they maybe have never painted or drew before, right? And they're just trying something new. How often are you doing that in your life, trying something new? And then how often are you actually doing it per day, per week? What does that look like for you? Why? What we know is the people who do this think better. They're more productive in life and work. They have self-reported a higher level of fulfillment in life. You follow that? Really powerful. So what is it for you? And if it's below an 8 for you, what's the one thing you need to shift about that? Like if you rated yourself an 8 or below, what's one thing you need to introduce, especially going into the new year here, coming up? If 2019 was amazing, I would add in weekly classes around this craft. Weekly classes about learning something new. That just is fun. Doesn't have to necessarily be tied to your mission or your career. Just something fun to try and do. Maybe it's guitar, learning guitar. Maybe it's something with music. Maybe it's learning an app that lets you really create things like Procreate on the iPad or something along those lines, whatever that is. Next up, my life's ambitions. If I died tomorrow, I wouldn't have any regrets. I've lived a life where I've paid attention to and taken action on my life's ambitions. At least once a year, I reevaluate my life's ambitions and schedule time for them. So this presupposes that you've actually thought about what you really want in your life, out of life, what you really want to experience before it's too late. If you haven't read The 5 Regrets of the Dying yet, and you don't have to read the book, it's heavy duty, but you can go online and Google it, and you'll see just the breakdown of what terminally ill patients shared as the 5 big themes with Brani, the author, over like thousands of them. She's just summed them up into 5 major themes. And I'll tell you what, if you're not clear about this, some people call this a bucket list. Maybe it's time to get clear. Maybe it's time to think about, you know what? Dang, I've been just working my butt off. I've only been going after what's necessary for me to survive, and I haven't been touching that, the verve, the reverence of life through going after maybe trips, like adventures. And maybe not like an adventure to another country, but maybe just an adventure around where you live. You know, one of the biggest things down here in Southwest Florida people have experienced is they get here and they're like at the beach all the time. They move down, they're at the beach. And after a year or two, they're like, oh yeah, the beach. Forgot about that. They don't go unless people come down. So as you probably know my story, I'm at the beach. I was there last night watching sunset, livecasting that. If you haven't seen it, go on my Facebook feed. You'll see last night's sunset was unbelievable in Naples Beach. But living into it, you know, that's one of my life's ambitions. Make sure I'm on the beach a lot. And that gives me this feeling of connectedness to my spirit. I hope this is helping you. So 0 to 10 here. 0, I don't even know what life ambition is. I'm not going after it. I'm living like a zombie in the Matrix. What's that mean? I get up, do what I gotta do it again. Repeat tomorrow. Oh, the weekend's here? But on this side, you know what? The weekend's here. Here's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna chill on the beach and read a book. We're gonna drive over here and experience a new adventure. You follow? I hope this is helping you. This has changed so many people's lives that I had the pleasure of working with. And maybe it's time for you to reevaluate these. I always get very reflective around the end of the year, and that's my time to really sit down and think about it. Nowadays, I do that work around Thanksgiving, so that December I can warm up the engine to go after it in 2019. You follow? Kind of get some ideas of where I can put these things in play, like going and visiting all my beautiful friends in Sweden, in Denmark, in Germany, in France, in Spain, like Ireland, England. Got all these people that I've got this list. I'm like, I've got to go. It's one of my ambitions. I've got to go see them. And I want to kind of plan a trip where I'm just a couple days here, a couple days there, but I'm giving myself some flexibility. You follow? I hope that illustration helps because it's really important for this piece. And if you need help here, just let me know. Our beautiful mastery community members know we have these check-in calls. So this may be something you want to level up in, you know? By the way, if you haven't scheduled one of those, get a hold of me. We got time locked in before the new year to do our 2019 cleanup, set up, level up calls. We're going to rock that. All right. The 7 assessments for me, real quick. Now, 9+. I am right where I need to be. Rocking life. My best self, there's a 9 there. I'm so clear, and I'll go over it in a little bit, these needle movers that keep me on purpose and on track with being my best self in all the realms we talked through. Stress, overwhelm, and clarity, that was down last month. It's back. I am ultra clear. I'm excited, and I know how to handle stress and overwhelm, and I don't have any overwhelm in my life anymore. I am so clear about how to pocket things as they come in and how to process them. We're going to talk a little bit about that today in our minimalism training. My relationships, 9. On that, really working to assure I'm touching, reaching out to, and at least helping people down their path and helping them recognize what options are available with the people that I know as maybe more acquaintances and friends. And then with my close people, I've got systems in play for me to make sure I'm reaching out and talking to them, communicating, sharing stuff, having fun. Pretty cool. My career mission, 10, easy peasy, but that took a lot of work. So if you don't have a 10 in career mission or even an 8, and you need help with that, you let me know. We'll go on that hunt together for you. Next up, my hobbies and passions. And for me, that's a 9 now. Last month and before it wasn't so high, but I've recognized what my true hobbies and passions are. I love to play certain video games, and I don't like consume a day with it. I'll play for 20 or 30 minutes, and it's so, I've really analyzed the feeling of what it does for me, and I feel so recharged and reset when I do that. It comes back from when I was little, right? Atari 2600, Commodore 64, what was the next console? Nintendo 64, all these kind of things. That was always a part of me to reset, recharge, rejuvenate. And during that time, I'll come out and I'll feel really clear about what I got to go and do next. Does that make sense? So that was just an example, illustration for you. My life's ambitions, ultra clear on it, but I know there's a little more I can do there. So with that, let's shift gears now and go through the wheel of perspective, those 10 critical areas, part of my 10-day health, wealth, and happiness challenge that really helps you understand where you're out of alignment. If that wheel is not circular, even if it's small and it's bumpy, then you got places to work, right? All right, so let's go through and do it. First part of the 10 needle movers is sleep. So my question for you is this: how well have you slept in the last month? So we'll do this for the last month. 0 to 10, with getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep. We know biologically that's what the human body needs to feel optimized. It's different for different people. I think there's a study that says as you get older, you need a little less. And when you're younger, you need way more. Like babies need 14 hours of sleep or 16 hours of sleep. So how have you done in the last month with getting well-rested sleep, meaning that you've slept through the night, you feel like satiated from the sleep perspective. When you get up, you're like, man, I feel good, let's go. What is that for you? For me, that's a 9. A couple nights, there was a little bit of a shift, and I just recognized what those things were, and I've altered. I got to be careful about what I consume from a reading perspective before I go to sleep, because sometimes that stuff keeps me awake. You follow? But I do the release meditation, which is about a 2 to 3 minute thing, and I'm out. If you don't know what release meditation is, go on YouTube. Brendan, our high performance master coach, will teach you and do it with you. And I just release, 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 and then boom. And I love the mantra release, because it really helps me release those thoughts that come at me. Follow? So I hope that helps us a little bit. Next is hydration, and that has been an 8, and I'm drinking some green juice today. This is Suja, low sugar, like 4 grams per serving, which for a juice is phenomenal. Stuff's so good, but trust me, I don't think most people like it because it's heavy duty kale. Oh yeah, oh kale, yeah. Hydration. How have you been doing in the last month, day to day? Keeping hydrated, aiming for, what is that, a gallon of water a day, 3 liters of water minimally, and just having water with you through a bottle, preferably not plastic, like this, metal insulated. Bring the joy. What is that for you? Would love to know. Next up, eating nutrient rich 90% of the time. I always say it's not eating beige foods, breads, croissants, those kind of things. Eating from the rainbow can't be Skittles. But what is that for you? How have you been doing there in the last month? Have you been eating primarily veggies, a little bit of fruit, nuts, lean proteins? Or what else is going on? Lots of ice cream? Lots of Krispy Kremes? What is that for you? How have you been doing? I've been owning that. Now, one day a week, usually 1 meal a week, I'll go old school. I'll bring out my big boy self. And that's my old 270-pound version of me. And I'll own it. And we did that 2 nights ago when I had lasagna at a really wonderful place here in Southwest Florida called Chibo. And I just ate a lot of bread and a lot of lasagna, and I told my wife, I'm gonna be so fat and happy today. And I was. Next day, I'm a little bit like, whoa. But it was awesome. And I celebrate that event. I told our waitress that I only do that literally once every 2 months, maybe 3 months. And it's such a ceremonious thing for me. Because I used to have that stuff like multiple times per week, Not that lasagna can be terribly bad for you if you have the right ingredients in it, but you get what I mean. Next up, exercise. How well have you been doing at getting sweaty 2 to 3 times a week for 30 minutes? Like really moderate or high intensity exercise. Minimally 2 or 3 times a week for 20 to 30 minutes. I'm down low here. I've been hitting it and then missing it. I had a stomach bug, was that last weekend or the weekend before? And I just went out and tried to run. I felt like I was gonna throw up. So I just had to dial it back a little bit. But now I'm back on track, but that's the honesty of how that showed up in the last month. Now when I look at that 6, I'm not like, oh, I was slacking. I was dealing with something. You feel the difference? Next up, taking breaks. The highest performers know when you take breaks every 60 to 90 minutes and reset yourself. Get up, stretch, move, kind of think about, okay, what did I just accomplish? What am I going to accomplish? Set some intention, that they bring a whole nother level of aliveness and connectedness to their day. They don't feel like their days just whip by. They feel, you know what, I stopped and assessed and I've reset, redirected my path. I was good with that. So for me, 8. I'm on that like crazy. There's an app on the Mac called Recess. I use that app, but I don't even really need to because I'm like, I can just sense in my body. I'm like, hey, you know what? When was the last break? It's time to go. And it's usually around, I've just kind of over practiced over the last few years. My body just knows it's time to get up and move. Or it's time to hit the button. I got these new Foley desks, standing desks that are automated, like they're machine driven with these memorizations. It's time to press that button and move it to standing and then go out and stretch, go for a walk, reset, rejuvenate, whatever that would be. So how are you doing here? What's showing up for you? Next up is happiness. 2 parts to the way we measure happiness in this wheel of perspective. 1, are you typically around people who uplift you? We call that the growth mindset. Above the line, people of accountability, responsibility, ownership, positivity, growth. Or are you typically around people that either keep you neutral or negative? Blame, excuse, denial, gossip. Now in my life, it's above the line 99.9% of the time. But a lot of people that I've worked with, they're like, dude, I'm around people more often than not, or just around people who are just, the world stinks, da-da-da-da. They're the victim mentality. So that's one aspect. The other aspect from the creator's realm is, are you learning, creating, and sharing new things? And if you do it right, it's a lot of what I teach and coach, you can monetize it. So you can truly learn things, create things, and share things and feel purposeful about it, helping others, and you can be profitable about it too. We'll talk a little bit about that, or a lot about that, in our business mastery training today. But I just want to make sure we paint that frame for you. So what's your rating here? 0 to 10. I'm at a 7. I've got a few things I got to dial up from the learn, create, share piece. We're going to talk about that later. Next up, finances. How are you doing there? Are you living within your means? And I would dare challenge you. We're going to talk about this when we get to minimalism. Are you saving 10%, 20%, 30%, 50% of your income every month? Is that even possible? Are you setting yourself up for fun in the future? You know, retirement. Are you setting yourself up for fun now? Are you able to live within that realm? Or are you overextending? Are you in debt, right? So I'm completely debt-free. I have been for a long time, 20-some years, and I'm living very much within my means thanks to today's work. You're going to see why. Big part of that. Next up is presence. In the last month, how present have you been? Means not distracted with the people around you, with yourself, with the world. Have you been staring at that piece of glass, the phone or the iPad or your computer when people are around you? Have you been giving yourself some digitally free time, digital device free time to just get present with nature? That's the big thing this morning when I was out at the pool, in the hot tub, and just getting present with nature and listening to the water fountains and all that, and just being cool with being able to be here on this beautiful planet and remembering to just get present with the birds, with the little lizards we have down here in Florida. Big part of that. Can I be more present? Absolutely. Am I working on it? You bet. I'm going to talk about that in just a little bit. Purposeful. How well have you been doing at living into your purpose? Do you have your purpose defined? For me, it's real simple. My purpose is to help you improve your life or grow your business. And I'll do whatever it takes to do that. And as long as I'm doing those things, whether that's through value videos, putting them online, or through having conversations, or getting into groups and Facebook and adding some helpful, hey, here's what I did. Does that help? That's incredibly purposeful to me. And I am on that. I've never been more purposeful in my life than in the last 2.5 years. Especially in the last year and a half as we built the mastery community. Because now we're really pushing on that pedal of purpose. Helping you improve your life. And if it means something to you, grow your business too. But definitely improving your life. Hope you're seeing it right here. Thank you so much for being here with me. This is everything for me. Just this time with you, going through this together, this journey, reassessing 12 times a year, reassessing on these things, being like, how are we doing? What's the one thing we could do today from this list that would really help us feel better, be better, do better in the world? Good stuff, right? Next, your daily plan. This is critical as we think about this. How well have you defined and have you been living into your daily plan? Now, real quick, I have these needle movers, and I brought them out because we're going to talk a lot about them in both trainings today, that help me understand my daily plan, like how I need to be throughout the day. These are very specific questions that I ask, the things that I must do every day that help me progress. So things like think about my vision every morning, strategize and plan. What am I going to do today? I use the one-page productivity planner that we teach in high performance for that. Capture ideas, convert, email, social time blocks to get connected and share with others. Quote cards, videos, marketing, sharing, and then me at the personal level, sleep, hydration, eating, a lot of stuff that we just went over, making sure I'm hitting those out of the park and have really well-defined sort of outputs that I want to hit for them. That's how I operate. Now, if you're not there and you're like, oh my God, it's way too much work, don't worry about it. We'll baby step that for you. And I got specific training that will help you with that, and coaching too. So how'd you do here? These are all my numbers. Mine are pretty high, just as the way it works. I've done this exercise with a lot of people, but I hope this has helped. Good? All right. So our second step is now to step into this training today. So let me go ahead and move the camera. We will rock this out. I hope you're having a good time. I hope you're loving what we're covering. And I think as we move over here, you're going to really enjoy this piece. Let me just bring that a little bigger in focus there so you can read what's going on. All right, it looks good. Excellent. So as promised, today's training is on, let me make sure we got good. Oh, we're looking good. I got my hair done, all pretty. Today's training is all about minimalism, the 6 steps to personal freedom. So if you have not watched the movie Minimalism, that's total bonus. It's on Netflix, and I think you can go on Minimalism Film or minimalistfilm.com and you can get it in different formats in different places. I think they even have it on iTunes now, those kind of things. It's really important as we frame, because of what we talked about at the beginning of our time together, this session, we talked about how so much abundance is in the world that it's really easy to get caught up in that and forget about things that kind of give us personal freedom, right? So I talked a little bit about, as we remember, the Krispy Kreme scenario, that humans know, and they've engineered food so that you crave it. And there's no better way than to see the lineups that were at Krispy Kreme for something that we also know biologically, if we have that every day or all throughout the day, does more harm to our body for the long term than good, by a long shot. Sugar, fat, salt. Now we need those ingredients to survive, right? But we don't need them in that quantity, in that dose, right? Like, whoa. So what we have to be incredibly careful about is outside of food, the world today, we're very abundant in the sense that we have all these things that we can get and we can acquire them. And you can always tell with certain people, if they have too much stuff, they'll have boxes that they put away of their stuff and they don't want to get rid of them, but they know they don't need that stuff anymore. And some people, oh my goodness, get a storage unit to put their stuff just because they don't want to get rid of it. Like there's this cling to it. But the highest performers and the people who are living, and not necessarily classify themselves as high performers, the people who are living the most free today, think about, what is it that I need, want, use, and enjoy? And they're also on the hunt to reduce or simplify consistently. And ever since 2006, I've lived that life. They didn't classify it as minimalism back then, and maybe it was classified, I just didn't know it. But here's the thing that I want to start with, is the overarch of what minimalism is. The way it's framed nowadays. It is not living without any furniture. It is not living without like scraps. It's not living like a homeless scenario. Like, that's not what minimalism is at all. It's just this. It's having exactly, let's get the proper marker. And by the way, if I'm writing, you better be writing. So get your notes out and write this down, because we're going to assess you in these areas. So here we go. It's having exactly what I need, want, use, and enjoy, while always working to reduce and simplify. If you're a high performer in the world, there's another arc to this. That arc is this definition, along with the fact that what I have, need, want, use, and enjoy is of benefit to me and to others. I'm going to qualify that in just a minute for you, but I really want you to think about this. Is what I have right now, if you take a look around your room right now, is everything that I have, as I'm looking around my room, is everything I have something that I need, want, use, and enjoy? And the operative words here are use and enjoy. Because how many times have you ever gotten involved in something like a hobby, and you're like, oh, I got to go after Legos. And we got tons of Legos. And then all of a sudden these Legos are piled up somewhere and they're clutter. And they reduce our ability to have more connection in the world because we're like, oh, I got all this stuff and it's going to my house. I feel like it's cluttered. And I don't feel free. I don't feel like I can enjoy because there's too much stuff. You follow? So the highest performers are clear. The moment they're over the Lego phase, they'll keep it around for a while, unless it brings them joy, like specific Lego creations they did, like maybe a Star Wars thing. They might keep one or two, and they may have built 20, but they move that stuff out. They keep the stuff of significance that really brings them joy, and they enjoy seeing it and remembering the connection. Maybe they built it with their family, their brother, their sister, their daughter, their son, whatever that would be. And that stays. You follow? So the highest performers, as I mentioned, they have stuff, minimal amount of stuff, that helps them help the world. So guess what I've purchased in the last 3 months? Outside of like the necessities for, paper towels and food and those kind of things. I've purchased 2 shirts, 1 pair of shorts, and a new computer because my daughters and I are building a video production studio. And I also purchased an iPad Pro, the brand new one, because I'm migrating some of my training to iPad-driven templates. You follow? Everything that I purchased because of these things, but I also purchased them because this is one of my new shirts, by the way. Thank you. Looks good. Feels great. Is because it's going to help me help the world. And that's the shift. But guess what happened when I brought in the new shirts and shorts? 2 shirts went out. 1 pair of shorts got tossed because they got ripped. You follow? I'm not acquiring tons of stuff without things leaving the environment. But I'm also, and this is the arc of the high performer, I'm acquiring things and always thinking about, will this help me serve the world better? Will this help me help you? And the new computer is doing exactly that. We're using it today, and we're really leveraging its power along with the other computer to have dual video editing capacities as we start to build that whole video production. As we're moving in 2019, that's huge for us. Both of my brands have that involved with it. You follow? It was a big investment for all this, but it's paid off in dividends already, and it's going to as we move across time with our ambitions. You follow? So I'd love for you to take some time and assess this. You kind of walk through your rooms, look through your bags. Is this something I need or I want, I use and enjoy, and is there any way for me to reduce or simplify? I'm always on the hunt for that. And there's a whole nother level of reduce or simplify for me, and we're going to work that around Thanksgiving. I'm excited about it because it's going to mean there's less stuff. And let me also help you. If you get into the removal of stuff, sometimes there's emotional shock, what is that word? Like emotional, like it's almost like coming off a drug. Like your body's like, don't get rid of it, because there's security involved in having stuff, especially in light of how we've been programmed in the world today. The keeping up with the Joneses concept, right? So it's really, really important that we think this through for you. Does that help? I'd love for you to comment below. This definition of minimalism helps you think about things a little differently. I hope the connection's here for you in the line of stress, overwhelm, and clarity, with how that can help reduce those stress and overwhelm and bring more clarity. So many people have self-reported that when they remove things from their desk, when they remove things from their workspace, when they remove things from their house, their office, and they walk in, they can just get to work. And they just don't have that mental like slowness, baggage, like, oh, I got to deal with that. Oh, I got papers here, I got all that, right? You follow? So many people I've coached have said that, and we've worked diligently. We'll talk through the way that we've done that in just a minute, but I hope this is helping you. So let's step into the training part even further, the next step. Why is it important for you to be of the minimalist concept? Like, why is it important for you? So I'd love for you to take a moment and think about, why is it important for me, if I want to create more personal, and I'll even say financial freedom, to live into this? What is that for you? So I'm going to walk through an illustration for me. Now let's reverse to 2005, when I had a house that was 8,000 square feet, 2,000 of it was outside, but it was still considered part of the house the way it was built, like part of the square footage. And then 6,200 of it was inside, had 9 toilets. It had 3 air conditioners, 2 were commercial grade. The cost of running that house in the summer in Florida, just from the electrical component, was $1,200 a month. You follow? And for me, I was raised in a realm where it was like, take care of what you have. My grandpa was awesome about that. He was a DIY guy, do it yourself. And he's like, take care of what you got. And I'm like, just to keep this place going. It's crushing me. Because I was mowing my own lawn, which is about almost an acre. I was doing it in the summer in Florida. If you've ever been in summer in Florida, you got to mow your lawn twice a week. And I'm like, this is just not the lifestyle I thought that it was. Because I was about the big house. I was about the big motorhome. I was about the big car. I was about this, that, and the other thing. But when I got it, I realized it was so incongruent with who I wanted to be. Because on the other side, why it was important to me to live here was I don't want to deal with that. I want to get, because I had a motorhome at the time. If you know my story, we had a big bus motorhome. I just want to get into that and know that everything's taken care of. Like there's minimal amount of maintenance and stuff I got to deal with. And boy, when I got to that, it was a breakthrough for me. When I hit that breakthrough, everything shifted about what I wanted in my life. And that's why in 2006, the very beginning, went through a very powerful divorce. And I was like, you know what? Keep the stuff. I don't want it. And then I brought in just the basics. And if you were with me back then, if any of you were on the call that know, you'd come here to the high rise that I live in, and you'd see there was a big screen TV with folding chairs and a folding table. There was a bed. I had no paint on the walls. I had no window coverings. I had nothing in the whole condo. It was a brand new development, so it was brand spanking new. And I was just like the ultimate, I would say, and maybe minimalist, it wasn't a good word for that. It was below minimalism. Like I didn't have the stuff that I needed, wanted, and used and enjoyed, except for the critical ingredients. I knew I had to sleep, and I liked the big screen TV and a computer. Follow? So why was it important to me to live along these ideals? Because I wanted a life of experience, not stuff. You follow? Does that resonate with you at all? In light of the fact today, more than ever, you can get to Europe. When you're in the United States, that's across the pond of the Atlantic Ocean. You can get to Europe for $200, $300. And you can go explore other worlds. And if you have a travel bug or adventure like I do, rather than having this stuff that is my Europe trip in the form of something that I barely use or don't use or is in storage, I've just robbed myself of that experience because of this stuff. So when I look at a person's house and I hear them say, Char, I want to go out and travel. I do not have the money. I'm like, that shelf right there has $400 worth of stuff on it, right? Do you use that? Does that bring you enjoyment? No, I just got it. I thought it'd be a good idea. Nah, I could probably sell that. Well, that $400 is an airplane ticket to Europe. Let's go through your boxes. Those Legos, $600. That's a couple nights in a hotel in Europe. You follow where we're going with this? That's why it's important to me. So, how are we doing so far? What's the frame here and here for you? Would love for you to share. If you're watching the replay, comment. If you're in the live, comment. Just let me know what it is for you. Why is it important for you to create more personal financial freedom through what we've covered so far? You follow? I so want this for you. I'm living in it and I'm loving it. And I want to make sure you are, if that's your dream or desire. You follow? All right, now let's step into the red, number 3. So, finding your emotional fuel. Oops. And that's what we just worked through. So if I'm writing, you better be writing emotional fuel for change. Ask yourself, what is it? Do I want the stuff that sits on a shelf that I may or may not use in the future, but it was a good idea because it was on sale? Or do I want the experience in life? And maybe the experience in life is just going down to the pool more often, if you happen to live here in Florida. Maybe the experience in life is just connecting and playing Scrabble with somebody you love. But that clutter, that stuff is blocking that from happening for you. Follow? So what we're trying to do here with 2 and 3 is come up with the emotional fuel for you to make change. Because here's what we know about habits. Some people will say it's 21 days to get a habit. Some people will say it's 72 days. But here's what I can tell you is the moment you're diagnosed with, let's just say type 2 diabetes, and you're told from your doctor that if you continue to drink 7 Mountain Dews per day and eat those Krispy Kreme donuts, you'll probably die in the next 6 months. The habits shift. The habit shifts. If you care, you know? You come out of the hospital, it's like Mountain Dews are gone, Krispy Kremes are gone. I'm going to learn to like kale. If you care about your life, that habit shifts now. Why? The emotional fuel. So our job is to figure out what is the emotional fuel, why it's important. I illustrated for you mine. That's travel, adventure, connectedness with those I love. Follow? What is it for you? So here's what I found as I've coached so many sessions of high performance. Humanity's most common fuel is financial freedom. Remember, if I'm writing, you better be writing. By defining your savings versus spending rate. Does that make sense? Here's what we know. There's a video on YouTube and there's a ton of stuff you can Google that says if you save 50% of your income, so 50 out of 50, 50 is for your bills, 50 is for saving, that you can retire if you start it right when you were in college or right after college and you don't have debt per se, like you're starting at 0, you can retire in 16.3 years, presuming you keep your spending rate at that 50 percentile mark. I'm not going to go into the math because we do not have time for that today, but what I want you to be aware of is this is what I'm teaching my daughters. This piece. We have got to understand there's a level of abundance in the world and that is engineered to get under our skin as soon as they detect that we like it. Why is it that when we start talking about something, this scares the crap out of a lot of people, all of a sudden we start seeing ads for it on our devices. Talking, like it's hearing us. Why is it when we quickly search for an idea or something, then boom, ads are showing up? They got into our psyche. They know, you know? They know certain triggers. Krispy Kreme knows triggers of sugar, fat, and salt. And they deliver it in a bundle that's so delicious. You're just like, oh, I need more of this. They said, just as a side note, they said that instead of people buying 1 or 2 or 3 donuts, they were buying double dozens, like 24 donuts. And they were asked, like, what are you going to do that? We're going to keep them and work through them this week. I'm like, oh my gosh. Great for Krispy Kreme and profits, not so much for the bloodstream, for their body. For the insulin, you know what I mean? Like, oh my gosh. You follow where we're going with this? So 50% savings, 50% spend, 16.3 years retirement. Now there's a couple presumptions there that when you're saving, you're in a sort of savings where you're generating 5% interest, income on your money, compounded. So the math can get a little whatever about that, but there's plenty of information online to figure that out. All I'm trying to say to you is, can you at this moment in your life literally say, starting next month, I am going to go after spending 50% of what I earn and the other 50 is going into savings. Is that even possible for you? If you're held at gunpoint around that idea and you had to make it work for the survival of you and your family, maybe gunpoint isn't a good word to use. If you had to do that for the survival of your family, could you make it work? A lot of people came to that reality. It wasn't so much the 50% savings. It was like income is down during the economic recession, 2008, 9, 10, you know? The highest performers, they're beyond that. They're living purposely and generating revenue that is well above and beyond their living expenses. And that is like 25% to 75%. And yes, that is my story. But how did I get here? And that's a whole nother episode. That's a whole nother training. But I'm happy to share with you the things that we're going to talk about this as 10x business in our next session that are the behaviors, the mindset, the habits, and even systems that help me maintain that. You follow? So my challenge for you as you think this through is financial freedom by savings and spending rate. What is your savings rate? If you read The Automatic Millionaire by David Bach, saving rate of 20% is extraordinary for anybody in the United States. Very few people have that. Can you imagine 50? Can you imagine this? If you want to follow some YouTubers that have owned this, Mike and Lauren, they retired recently at the age of, I want to say it was either 30 or 40, and they broke down exactly how they did it and how they've created, and they live very frugally. So they have great ideas for you on reducing spend. You follow? If you're on the personal development journey and you're buying everything that's out there, you got to think about that. I do a lot of work with people who are on the personal development journey. There's 10 grand here, 20 grand there to learn, to grow. But some of the stuff, correct me, most of the stuff they never watch. They never consume it. And they definitely don't do anything with it because they haven't seen it. But they got to get it because they got the fear of missing out. And it's been engineered in a way, and that's something we actually teach, is engineered in a way to make you feel like you cannot get this again ever. Here's what it is, and here's what's going to help you do emotionally. Like, these are the emotional benefits of it. Big part here. So what is it for you? Anything coming up? This is tough conversation for a lot of people. But I want to make sure we're stirring that pot for you and helping you with it. That being said, what do we have here? All right, we got about 5 minutes left. How do you make real change? So I want to go over real quick the way I do it. I have, and this is done in Evernote, note-taking app. You could use OneNote, a Word document, a piece of paper. I have situational needle movers. I have daily needle movers. And I have weekly needle movers that course correct, keep me on track. They are in checklist format that assure that I'm living into the new thoughts, behaviors, mindset of what I need to live to my best version of myself. Now, we went over that in the assessment today. So here's a couple of them. Am I being intentional right now? That's on a situation. I'm asking that question a lot. Am I living into or being distracted from my purpose right now? So in light of what we've shared here, just those two things, when you're hitting that buy button, am I being intentional right now? Is this thing I'm about to purchase moving me forward, keeping within the realm of spend versus savings? Or is it sending me further down the rabbit hole? Do you follow? Am I living into or being distracted from my purpose right now? When I bought the 2 shirts and the shorts, when I bought the new computer, both of these were resounding yeses, and I debated on this if there was a better way, and I kept on thinking, is there a better way to do this that's not as expensive? But is the payoff going to help the world with what my talents, my abilities, and what I'm doing? And I was my own worst enemy there for about 2 weeks. And I'm like, gotta do it. Because my daughters are interested in really going after this 2019 endeavor of helping, and we tested it. I tested it with them to see if the interest was there for video editing, video production. You follow? So it's helping my family build their resume, and it's helping the world and the customers that we serve, along with my team. You follow? I want to make sure you're getting this, because this is where the shift happens. It's in these little needle movers. I have them clipboards because I got to see them. They're literally in my little production cave there, and they're up, and I look at them every day. And if I'm on the road, these are in Evernote. That's how they were printed. I'm on that every freaking day. Daily needle movers to live across this idea of minimalism. I ask, let's take a look at which ones relates here. The idea of capturing ideas and converting. What am I buying? So I reduce, because of these needle movers, I reduce my total learning expenditure, meaning acquiring stuff from other experts for me to learn, digest, and everything by 90% in the last 18 months. And I solidified on the people that I know can move me forward the fastest. Brendon Burchard's one of them. You follow? Really, really critical when we think about this. So I'd love for you, as you think about what I've just shared, to define your 1, 2, or 3 big moves and the specific steps for each. So let's break that down a little bit for you. What is it situationally when that idea comes up that I need to have that Krispy Kreme, that you can overcome that? Because there's so much emotional charge there and they got those buttons pressed on you. What is it when you're like, oh, I need that next course. Oh, I need that next thing. What are the behaviors, thoughts, mindset you're going to go through to be like, wait a minute, back up. I need to step out of myself and say, is this an emotional reaction or is this intellectually going to help me progress immediately right now? And I've engineered our mastery community to hit the marks for helping you progress immediately right now. That's why we do the check-in calls. That's why we do the specific training around what you have asked me for. You follow? That's the shift. And this is really a big part of minimalism. It's like, what is it at the very minimum that I either need to relearn or work with somebody on or go after that is that next step for me, that helps me, supports me, champions me on, educates me, and yes, I would dare say even challenges you. You follow? I hope I'm clear enough here because this is everything towards really setting up. If you're in any debt right now, really setting up to go, I would say debt-free in 2019. And if you don't believe you can, I'm working with people right now that are at $200K in debt. And we've got a plan to get them debt-free by the end of 2019 through a lot of the other work we do. You follow? So if you need help there, let me know. We have these beautiful check-in calls. We'll dial that in for you, whatever that is. But I want you to really consider what we've talked through here. And I want you to document your big moves in light of what we've shared and your specific steps. And if you're like, the big move for me is to get debt-free. Okay, what are the situational things that I need to do? What's the mindset that I must adopt to work towards debt-free? Guess what the number one thing is? Spend less, right? To learn about the debt avalanche, debt snowball with Dave Ramsey. There's a great video online and we'll walk you right through it. Takes about 10 minutes and you're just like, okay, can I do that? Not sure, but give it a go. If you need somebody to support you or challenge you, you know I'm here for you, and so is our mastery community. So in light of that, let's go here and talk about tactics, and then we'll wrap up this beautiful training. Ask, starting now, what is incoming? A lot of people ask me how I got paperless. And I said there's 2 aspects to it, and it hits right here. I had to say whatever comes in as of this moment, there's a demarcation line, is going to be handled before it works its way on the desk or anywhere else. So when you walk in, like in my home studio, when you walk in the door, there's a scanner right there that if it's something that I need to save, I immediately put it in there and hit a button and it saves it to my Dropbox. And then in the other room, there's a shredder. So if it's mission critical, confidential, it gets shredded. And I've made that behavior in my brain so that it doesn't make it beyond those. It handles. If I need to save that document, there's a filing cabinet by the shredder. You follow? And it ends up there. If I need to process that document, let's say a bank statement, it goes into a space and I have time allocated to handle that within 24 to 48 hours. And it gets cleared off and everything's paperless. But I had to start with what's coming now. I had to change the behavior. And then I had to take all the papers that I had and sort them. And I had stacks like this. And I bought an industrial strength shredder, like a $300 shredder that could handle it nonstop with like 30 pieces of paper at a time. And I worked it. And that took about a month and a half. But I got it. And now I live and have for the last few years completely paperless. So here's the thing. What's starting now? What is incoming? And what do I have now? So what I mean by that is when you look around, what is it that's not being used, enjoyed, needed anymore, or wanted anymore? What do I have? What do I gotta get rid of? Maybe you take a room at a time. What's starting now? What is incoming? As things come in, as I press buy button, do they have a place? Everything I buy, I visualize how that's gonna come in and what's gonna leave because of that incoming thing. 2 shirts and shorts, I knew it was going out before I bought it. Yeah, that's maybe a little crazy, but that's where I'm at. And let me tell you, it's a very freeing life because you're intellectual. The people who know marketing know this. You buy on emotion and you reconcile with intellect. And they're just aiming for that. You can reconcile later. You gonna return this? Probably not. You gonna cough that Krispy Kreme up? Probably not. You follow? Next up is think through journal. What enhances, distracts me from the most joy and engaged life. So when you take this frame and you apply this to it, it's like, what enhances or distracts me from a more engaged and joyful life? Is having all this extra crap. Like a year ago, I had 4 cameras, and I'm like, these cameras drive me nuts because they're all different. Like 2 of them are the same, and then the others are different. I'm like, I just want one camera that does it all. And I'm looking at you through it, the Panasonic Lumix GH5. Got one camera, solved all the issues of a camcorder, 2 Canons, and then this other camera that I had, camcorder. So I had 2 Canons that were DSLRs. I had what was the other one? A camcorder, and then I had another camera. I can't think of what that one was. But I got rid of all those, sold all 4 and got one, and it simplified my life like crazy. I would dare say it was one of the best decisions I ever made for 2018. What is it for you? What is that for you? The distraction was too many cameras. One camera enhanced my life. I get in there and I can just own that one camera, like the menus and everything, and then just feel like we got that. It's been outside, it's been doing all these different videos we've been doing. It's filming us right now. It's live casting to YouTube. You follow? And then finally, and this is the tactical piece that I want you to leave with in our training today, what are 5 things that I'm going to do now? What am I going to donate? What changes am I going to make right now? I have my list because I'm still working on the reduction simplification path. It's like high performance. There's always that next level, right? I'm like, oh, I didn't think about that. I'm going to go through all my old VHS tapes that I have. I don't know why, because I converted them digitally a while ago, and they're hitting the road. I'm going to feel great when that's out of here. I'm going through these CDs and DVD collection I got, and unless I feel like I can't live without it, I hope it doesn't happen. They're going out. You follow? We're afforded this abundant life of having availability to watch movies from a click, and then poof, we're in. Like through iTunes or through Amazon Prime or Netflix. And the ones that are important to us, maybe we want to get those physical just in case. But you know what I'm saying? You follow? So I'd love to know. Let's back up here and let's close this down today in a really profound way for you. First and foremost, we set the perspective in life. We talked about now. We talked about stress, overwhelm, and clarity. We talked about life's ambitions. And I challenged you to think through this stuff, to say, is the box of things that I have here that I thought were important to me at one point robbing me, the money value of those, robbing me from a trip, an adventure, a journey that I would want to go on? Do I want that to happen in the future? Do I need those things? Do I want to go on an adventure in life? And adventures don't have to be expensive. Is this stuff cluttering, holding me back, bringing less openness, presence, engagement in my relationships, even with just myself? What is that for you? Seriously, take a moment, think about that. Okay, I'm going to press the buy button. What did I just rob myself of because I hit the buy button on that? From a life ambition perspective. Maybe it's that trip to Egypt. Maybe it's that trip to Australia or New Zealand. You know? The other challenge I have for you is the 50-50. Journal. How could I, just for fun, in case an economic shift, which we're due for, according to the big guys, in the next 1 to 3 years, just in case an economic shift, how could I survive on 50% of my income right now? And see what that is for you. And if you need help there, you let me know, because I'll be glad to hunt that dog for you. Is that even a word? Phrase? Yeah. How are we going to go with it? So these are the challenges. This is the sensation. Again, the highest performers, the minimalization piece, exactly what I want, need, and use and enjoy while always working to reduce and simplify. The additional power for high performers is towards helping others in life somehow. That's the biggest thing that people of all spectrums financially have said. It wasn't until I recognized it wasn't about me, it was about service of others, that I felt that next level of purpose, connection, engagement. I hope this helps. So that being said, this ends our monthly mastery training on health, wealth, and happiness. And I hope this has helped you. My job on this planet is so incredibly clear. It's to help you live more purposefully. I think we crushed it here. To live more passionately. I hope this stirred up some stuff for you. To live more positively. Boy, that's the arc of today's topic. To live more productively. And keep in mind, productivity is sitting with your family watching a movie. If that's all you do in the day. So many people think productive means getting more done. So often productivity means just being with the people you love. Like, today was an amazingly productive day because I sat with my family, watched 3 movies, and we talked about it. And those movies propelled thought towards growth, or provided illustration for things that can be, or scared the bejesus out of us. And we'd love to be scared, but we had connection. And then finally, to live more profitably, and I think you get it. I hope you get it. So that being said, thank you so much. I hope you have an amazing day, and I'm going to be back in the studio here in about an hour. We're going to dive deep on 10x business growth and exactly how I'm thinking that through. Look forward to seeing you there. Take care. Bye-bye. Rocked.